Hi, my name is Jenny Kuita. I am with Walk and Rollers, but I've also been coming to Little Tokyo for over 50 years. I am standing at the Teresaki Budokan. It is a sports and recreational facility for basketball, martial arts. It's been a long-time dream of the community to build this site, and it was completed in 2020, but unfortunately because of the pandemic it has not opened yet. But there is a four-court basketball gym. There is a stage for performances outdoors, and there will be a playground and rooftop garden here in Little Tokyo. So this is the beginning and end of our tour. Thank you. Hi, I am standing at the Little Tokyo Service Center, Kasahewa, which is House of Harmony or House of Peace. This is 100 units of affordable housing built in 1995 by the Little Tokyo Service Center, which is a 40-year nonprofit in Little Tokyo that has built hundreds of units of affordable housing for low-income residents in Little Tokyo. So there are children and family services, early childhood education, community economic development, affordable housing, social services. LT Eats is a food program. They've been serving food to seniors in Little Tokyo since the end of March. So here we are on 3rd Street, and you can see we're right next to a metro docking station for the bicycle program. Hi, I'm standing at the Japanese American Cultural and Community Center. Behind me is the Japanese Garden. There is a 5-story office building here at the Cultural and Community Center, which houses a lot of Japanese American and Asian nonprofit organizations. There's the Japan America Theater behind me. It's an 800-seat theater. And the Noguchi Plaza behind me are the Little Tokyo Towers, which is senior apartments in Little Tokyo, and Isamu Noguchi Plaza, which has one of his sculptures there. This has been a gathering place for 40 years for the Japanese American community, arts and culture activities and programs. Standing underneath the oldest grapefruit tree in Little Tokyo, it represents grapefruit groves that were here in the late 1800s. So you can see there's one remaining. There's quite a bit of grapefruit still there, and it just reminds us of the history that was here prior to its current space in Little Tokyo. Hi, here I am at the Home is Little Tokyo mural on Central Avenue in Little Tokyo. This mural was made in 2004, 2005, and it was commissioned by the Little Tokyo Service Center, and one of the lead muralists was my husband Tonio Sumi, Sergio Diaz, and Jorge Diaz, coordinated by Nancy Kikuchi. So the Little Tokyo mural, Home is Little Tokyo mural, covers about 100 years of Little Tokyo history, starting from the very beginning, including some of the activism and community images of World War II. Hi, I'm at the corner of 1st and Central Avenue in front of the old Nishi Honganji Buddhist Temple in Little Tokyo on the corner of 1st and Central Avenue. It is one of the well-known, this corner is one of the well-known for being one of the pickup sites for Japanese Americans who were sent and incarcerated during World War II. It's 120,000 Japanese and Japanese Americans, 2/3 of which were children, including my parents. And across behind me is the Japanese American National Museum, which was built and opened in 1992, which houses a lot of history of the Japanese American community. It is not currently open to the public, but I recommend coming one day when things get open. There is a sidewalk timeline which documents the historic 1st Street North which has the residences and businesses that were in these spaces over the last 120 years. You'll see legacy restaurants, churches. My grandmother's church is right here across the street, Koyasan. Behind me is the Far East Lounge, which is a gathering place for seniors and other programs happening in Little Tokyo on First Street. And then we are right across the street from the Japanese Village Plaza. Some of these shops have been in the community since the 1950s. Further down on First Street, you'll see Fugetsudo, 117-year-old mochi and manju confectionery shop, which has been in Little Tokyo for 3 generations, going on 4. Whenever we come to Little Tokyo to do tours, we always come to the San Pedro Building. We're at First and San Pedro. This is a 42-unit hotel, single room occupancy SRO hotel that had a lot of Issei, first-generation Japanese, living in really poor conditions. The community found out that the building was owned by the city. So that started Little Tokyo Service Center doing community housing, and a whole really the community students, community members came together to help rehab and do the work possible to turn this 42 units into renovated housing for Little Tokyo residents. So you'll see folks living here today in the units, and on the first floor you have a restaurant, a barbershop, shiatsu store, and an immigration center. Directly next door to the San Pedro Building, I'm going to take off my mask because I'm the only one around here. Directly next door to the San Pedro Building is the Old Union Church, which is now the Union Center for the Arts. This is another Little Tokyo Service Center project that was renovated after the 1992 earthquake. So it currently houses East-West Players, the oldest Asian American theater company, LA Art Corps, and Visual Communications. In the basement is a 50-year-old media arts documenting Asian American activism and culture, and the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival also is produced by Visual Communications. And here right on the courtyard is the Aratani Courtyard, which has housed for 20 years the oldest and longest running Asian American and really multicultural performing arts space Tuesday night project, or Tuesday night cafe, which is the longest running. You'll see young poets, hip-hop artists, musicians, activists coming together on the first and third during non-pandemic times, during the first and third Tuesdays between April and October. So unfortunately we won't be able to see this, but this is the Union Center for the Arts courtyard. You can see right next door, this is right next to the San Pedro Building, so you'll see residents that watch and listen to Tuesday Night Cafe from their apartments. We're on the corner of 2nd and San Pedro at Weller Court. This used to be Weller Street. There were a number of hotels and community-based organizations that were here doing a lot of Serve the People programs in the 70s, and a lot of first-generation Issei Japanese, mostly men, lived in these buildings, the Sun Hotel, the Allen Hotel. They were demolished for redevelopment, which happened in the 1970s and 1980s. The new Otani Hotel was the site of a union struggle at the corner, and here Weller Court really is just a shopping center with restaurants, but it displaced many folks that had nowhere else to go. So you can see also City Hall in the background behind me. We'll leave the knot here and continue down to Toyo Miyatake Way and back to the Teresaki Budokan. Thank you. And I'm going to end the tour here. I encourage you to come back to Little Tokyo when the pandemic is over and when it's possible to safely do so, to check out the restaurants, community and cultural landmarks. There are many things to see other than what I was able to present, but amidst the gentrification and new apartments and restaurants, there's a living, thriving place of low-income residents, children, seniors. We're going to live here with the future of Little Tokyo. I'll make a little plug for Nikkei Progressives, doing a lot of work here in Little Tokyo, as well as Nikkei for Civil Rights and Redress. The Little Tokyo Service Center, I encourage you to check out any of these links and to please come back to Little Tokyo when the pandemic is over. Thank you, and support restaurants in Little Tokyo, small businesses. Thank you very much. On behalf of Walk and Rollers, I thank you for joining our tour in Little Tokyo today.